Hello, Twitch. We are here again. It is Thursday. These are my friends. They must be because I wouldn't do this with anybody else. And this is Ironsworn Co-op Edition. This is Sean Tompkins' game, and it has been amazing. It really is unique the way that he's put this together. You can play this solo, you can play this co-op like we're doing it, or you could play it in a regular group with a DM if you so wished. It all works. Also great for new DMs because there's a whole, if I don't know what to do, I can roll a die and it will tell me process that goes along with this. But speaking of rolling dice, the character sheet, Ethan has done an amazing job creating it, updating it, continuously updating it. We're on version 2 now, and it's gotten even better. It took us a little bit last week to get our heads around parts of it, but we are figuring it out, and yes, it's going to be excellent in the long run. Other than that, I think we might as well get right to the business. So the question got asked, I realized, in the pre-show, but it never got answered. Who, if anybody, want to go first?
Amala, are you doing it?
I can do it. Like
Okay.
I said, first or last, but never in between.
Yeah, all right. So first
The
it
two
is.
extremes.
Yeah. Well, I helped relight the barrier at home in the circle communion with their fallen leader. I chose to do it with bone and blood after thinking about what the seer and Emma, the herbalist at the Balhart Kadi, had said to me earlier. I added my own purposes as well, and I put out a call to the keepers of the world ending, the firstborn and the spirit animals and the spirit guardians and the shamans and seers and all of that. And I've been thinking, what is the nature of magic in a world of iron? Is it the breath of spirit blowing through our souls? I mean, maybe it's the blood pulsing through our veins or the bones that provide structure to a people. And what is the nature of light in a world of shadows that cling like cobwebs in untended corners and hiding crevices and secret places in our hearts? And for that matter, what is the nature of iron or of water or of salt or, any of these material things that seem to have an impact on magic and light and bone and blood and the sacrifice that they represent? Emma advised me that bone and blood magic is not inherently evil, that use and intent matter. But, I watched as I used it in Holmes' ritual. I watched the effect of my choice. Thank gods I made a choice. I made the choice. And I saw a gleam in the eye of our foe. Yeah. Using it may not make me evil, but that voracious void fed on it anyway. Yeah. I think that it always profits on that deal. So I put out my call to the keepers. The void is from their world, seeking to dominate the next world, which is mine and my friends, my circle's world. I want to know their intent, and I want to inform them that I do not intend to allow it past their conclusion. So we'll see where that takes us. Next. See, it's much easier when I go first.
Except
I can
if you're
go,
following that.
Yeah, actually, I can go next. because this one is a little weird for Bill. This is not 2 feet. In fact, he very specifically leaves feet behind. This is after the ritual is done and the bubble is built. He waits till everybody goes to bed and then sneaks out and out of the bubble into the darkness. And he goes and finds a shadow and a shadow and a shadow. And he gets down in there and does what he does absolutely best, which is disappear. Nobody can see him here. And he opens up his eyes in the shadow world. And in a voice much stronger than his one in this world, but from every direction at once so nobody could possibly tell where it's coming from, he starts calling them out. Callista. Tincture. The one behind. You'll never see it coming. Say goodbye to everything you love. He opens his eyes in that little puddle of darkness, climbs back out, walks back in, lays down. Right then, feet. We'll see how that goes in the morning. And curls up and goes to sleep with a great big grin on his face.
You're probably the only one who went to sleep with a grin on his face.
My turn.
Oh, Bill's getting creepy. Sorry, go ahead.
I walked till I could hardly walk anymore. Luckily, the white mate found our horses, and I was able to ride instead and give my feet a much-needed break. But I would still not stop until Shenda was resting in home. And we made it. It was even more difficult than I had thought. These people, who I didn't even trouble myself with at the beginning, I felt their emotions tearing at mine. I guess this is another thing I don't understand. Speaking of things I don't understand, I tried to help them. I tried to help them rebuild this barrier. But I knew nothing about rituals and salt and fire. My only connection to these rituals failed me. I came to her for help, and she was somewhere I could not reach. So I left. I tried desperately to find something, grasping at anything. And I became lost. And something found me instead. The spirit of this warrior, this woman I had come to respect. She showed me something. A trophy, a prize of her own make. Something she had hidden away from her circle until the day they needed it. And it was today that she brought it back home. Not in my hands, but in the hands of her favorite person in the world. Now, the others think I'm hard-headed. But what if these worlds they speak of beyond our own this world of spirit and dark and light and I don't know. But how do you explain this warrior woman coming back and manifesting herself as some kind of animal to guide me, to save her village? Is this something that I should be looking for?
Which brings us to
I'm finding myself worried about a great many things lately. About Kadal, about Bill, about Amala, gear, state of the world, rituals, and firstborn, and thrones, and futures, and it all feels so gargantuan and out of our grasp, and yet like we're the only ones doing anything to try and help, which may only partially be true. The Qadi seer said that I was to sit on this throne of the new world, and if not me, it was to be Kadal, and that I was the good one. But if Callista hedged her bets with Kadal, as the seer suggested, that implies that more than one person like Callista would be looking to influence this decision, this outcome. And I have to wonder, are they people like Tincture and Callista, or something better or worse? And how are they trying to influence this aspect of this new world we're creating? And if there's even a side that's worth the making, or perhaps a third option that nobody's thought about yet.
I guess with those thoughts in our various heads, we get a night's rest, I believe. Did we do that? We didn't finish with that, did we? I think we're going to start with that now, right?
Yeah.
And I think after the what we did, I think we could successfully call this a sojourn. With these people, this isn't just a simple resupply or making camp or anything like that. And I would also suggest that we have a bond with them.
I would hope so. Roll heart. Roll.
Oh, who rolls this time?
Well, we're still on Gear's mission.
Okay, that's not too bad.
That's a weak hit. Okay, so what did that get us on? Pardon my laziness.
On a
I
weak
didn't
hit,
have the sheet up.
choose one. If you share a bond, choose one more.
Okay.
And so we can clear condition, recover, or provide aid.
Yeah.
I've
So
forgotten what I
+1
need.
health, +1 spirit, +1 supply.
We can also do +2 to momentum, or
+2 to any of them. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Where are those now?
It's in Sojourn, the moves
Sojourn.
relationship
No,
moves.
no. Where? Oh, they're up at the top of the screen.
Summary.
Oh,
yeah,
yes,
up at the top,
yeah,
yeah.
So we get to
and
take-
I thought there was... No, plan is the momentum one. Okay, I thought there was one that first undertake a journey, but I think that's make count. What's that noise for?
Or you can provide
Ah.
aid and
Yeah, take a
swear an
quest.
iron vow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I swore one, or
Oh.
I just swore one, so I don't need to do that.
I kind of
I'd
just
already-
swore one, didn't I?
Yeah, I kind of just swore two, actually. It would have been three, but I'd already said I was going after the Mushroom Queen when we knew her as that. So
The Mushroom Queen. I love it.
Yeah.
Right.
So she's not Callista, and then now Tincture and the one behind. So that's three epics.
But my vow isn't really on behalf of home.
No,
though.
that was my point. Is I'm not taking the provide
Yeah.
aid in this case because I did that on a completely different reason. So I'm taking the +2 health. Is
And
that how that
so-
works? Or no, we can clear a
Yeah.
condition. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm adding the +2 to supply, so we get back up to 5.
I'm gonna take one of my spirit back because ow, my head hurts.
Yeah. I only need
I'm-
spirit, so
I need spirit. Yeah.
So, as I believe the last thing I said about Gear was him and Mirabelle were dancing the bandages off of her body, basically, all of her wounds. And as anybody would come close enough to try to reapply them, they would get various hands and implements shoved at them.
yes.
And so, as this ritual kind of fades out and this euphoria that has come over of this display, as the various people begin to kind of, because this is a huge open area, this is a communal gathering now, nobody's returning to their tents, everybody's kind of falling into whatever's comfortable, and Gear is kind of sitting there. He has none of his spirits with him, and he's sitting there, and Mirabelle has fallen asleep kind of in his lap, and he dares not move. And he's just sitting there as the fire's beginning to die and just watching the hazy glow of this barrier. And every once in a while, he'll catch a glimpse of that spirit just wandering by, kind of an antler here or a piece of the pelt there. This glowing green figure, this continued guardian of home. And he is going to run his fingers through Mirabelle's hair and say, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to go find her. And he's going to crack a smile, even though nobody hears him. And he's going to swear an iron vow. And I flipped away from my thing. So I don't
you find your thing.
Or hearts. And the modifier, I get 1 from the sojourn and 1 from the bond. Come on. I can't burn my
You roll
momentum,
an
can
8
I?
and still get a no. You can't break a
Oh,
10.
because you got a
so,
10,
yeah.
That's okay.
but that's
You still
not bad.
make the bond.
Well,
right?
We're
yeah.
It's just-
determined, but begin your quest with
Quest.
more questions than answers.
which
Which,
is
I
fair.
mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
about-
Which is
right.
absolutely fair.
yeah. And then I assume you fall asleep sitting up with your eyes open.
Essentially.
And
If I'm lucky,
I
leaned
imagine
against something.
Mirabelle is just like holding onto one of your hands as she sleeps.
Yeah,
just
like
kinda
you
just
can't
like-
even make yourself more comfortable.
like-
yeah.
It's like when a cat sits in your lap and you're like, oh, I live here now.
Yeah.
Yep. So I guess we get various degrees of rest. Surprisingly well this time, frankly, considering what we went through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dice at least were nice to us on the sojourn, if not, if we were evil to each other and ourselves last week. But so the next morning,
In the
We wait.
pre-dawn,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the pre-dawn, there is a ruckus among the home watch. It startles a few alert people who go to look, and there are 5 people standing calmly a short ways outside the barrier, each twice the size of the average human, and with a herd of sheep and oxen around their feet. They're warmly dressed in wool and furs, and a large cart stands a short ways behind them. Somehow they appear both as though newly arrived and yet perfectly at home. And through the ruckus, Amala stirs and awakes, and she walks out to approach them. And one in the front says, "You called. We are here." "I'm Amala. How should I address you?" "You may call me Buandu. We are the Joko." So your time is ending. You get that, right? And how do you want to go? What kind of legacy do you want to leave? There's kind of this, you small people think over much of time and impact and outlasting yourselves. It is enough to be. Well, that may be, but I mean, there are those who would annihilate people, snuffing life out like a candle and feeding on the spirits. I mean, those who cause others to cease to be. You speak truly. Are they a necessary part of life? Necessary? They are. It is enough. Guatemala thinks about this. We are the target of such. This circle is. And Blandu thinks about that for a minute. You speak truly. We're told by those who seem to know that these are forces of the world that is ending, of your world. Those who wish to continue into the next, into my world. You speak truly. So what do you intend to do in light of this? You have a desired outcome for this conversation. What do you really want? Well, I do not intend to allow these beings to continue past your conclusion. I want to know whether you will help me with that and how. So I've set the scene here, guys.
Oh, you okay? Yeah.
Anyone want to step in and help?
And this is causing a little bit of a ruckus, isn't it?
Well, it's causing some consternation. Amala's standing inside
Well,
the
because these are
barrier.
gigantic.
These are
Twice
giants.
the size of human.
These are giants. Like, these are, enormous. So.
I can imagine that this conversation would be pretty loud, especially in the pre-dawn.
Probably.
And there was a bit of a ruckus when the watch became aware that they were here.
Giants and quiet don't really go together.
Not to people smaller than them, no.
So I would think that you said there's 5 of them, right? I would hope that they're all varying personalities because that would make this work.
I would
Gear.
hope so, or they'd have a boring life.
Gear kind of comes off to the side, kind of peeking around the huts, and sees this and kind of moves forward. And as he does so, another one of them takes notice of him, and they do this awkward kind of stare at each other, and they begin to like circle, like sizing each other up, even though Gear's like
Yeah.
Finally, someone taller
like
than me.
a Chihuahua and a Great Dane that are like, you push first. No, you push first.
Mm,
But they're like checking each other out. This is
Yep.
really interesting to Gear.
And you're answered, Amala, with a big smile. You are, and it will be enough. You said it yourself. You almost said it yourself. Don't anticipate outcomes. Let's make this one of the other ones. This one's much more soft-spoken.
Yes, I know what I intend to do. I want to know what you do.
We will be. We are. You are. It will be enough.
And Amala's looking frustrated.
You sure?
Kind of like Caradwin with the elves.
Well, the other reason I said this was a different one
Very
is so that
much
you
so.
can have Wandu cut in at any moment. So, yeah.
What is it
well,
you wanted
Buandu
us
definitely.
to say? Another one says to Amala, what is it you wanted us to say?
What do you expect from us?
If I knew, I wouldn't have to ask.
But you do not need to ask. You needn't ask someone to be.
Life and death are natural parts of life. You cannot have one. Without the other, there is a beginning and there is an end. One cycle starts and the other ends. There will be people who try to continue a cycle beyond its lifetime. But they will not succeed, for the cycle will die.
And one in the back that hasn't said anything yet says, and if that doesn't work, we'll hit it with hammers.
That's the one that Gear's kind of circling with.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Without breaking eye contact. Yeah, if that doesn't work, we'll hit it with hammers.
I was getting a sense that these were very tribal kind of figures.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of donned in these.
They're very nomadic, very tribal.
Exactly.
Very...
And so hearing this, it's almost like Gear's ears go up, and he begins as they're still circling. He begins taking his fists and hitting his chest, and letting out these deep kind of bassy growls in rhythm, and it's mimicked by the other one, almost like this is a greeting ritual.
Yep.
And Buandu is has quite a twinkle in the eye at Amala's
exasperation.
perplexity. It's like, yeah. So why? Never mind. I was going to ask why you came, and you're just going to say because I called.
You did call. We answered.
I thank you for that. What do you do next?
Um, I know what happens next.
Go for
One of
it.
the ones that actually hasn't said anything yet is standing right at the back by the cart. Just very calmly reaches down and comes up from behind the cart with Bill by the scruff of his neck. And Bill has a bag in his hand.
Yoink.
Yeah, I would like to say Caradwin is near Amala, just watching. Just to point out where she is. But
And then he holds his hands out because he looks down. He's still above the cart, and he lets it go with a very loud clang, 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 clang. It falls back into the cart, and he's still heard the scruff of his neck.
And Amala makes a decision, and let's see. So Gear's already outside the barrier. Bill's already outside the barrier. So she looks to Caradwin and sort of nods to come forward, and Amala steps outside of the barrier, kind of hoping Caradwin comes with her.
she will.
So that is not my circle, and I cannot offer hospitality from there. But this out here is my circle, and I can offer hospitality. What hospitality can I offer to you?
And so, as you ask this question, it's kind of getting hard to have this conversation with them because of how loud Gear and the other one are getting.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like the two little boys in the corner, like roughhousing.
It's like two people showing off like a display of force, and they both stop altogether.
The last time we saw this, it was Gear and a goat.
I was tempted to have it end with a headbutt, but it doesn't.
And Amala leads over to
die.
Caradwin, and he thinks he doesn't know anything about rituals.
And Gear moves forward to this one and holds his arm out in this huge kind of display, and the giant basically takes his entire arm, wrist,
Body.
and part of his forearm in his hand, and they make this connection.
Yeah.
And they both sit down and begin to talk. And Kevin, apparently the one that likes to hit things with a hammer, he goes,
Yeah.
I remember you. I remember. Do you remember his name? Largebriar, one of your hunters. He used to come by all the time. He would bring us stone tools. Nobody could create stone, carve stone like he could. How is he?
He's good. It's funny, we used to mock him for that. Feeding the little ones, we called it.
We tried to hunt things that were large enough to clothe them, but very, very difficult. They often ended up a loincloth like. I'm sure you gave him hell for that.
and so Gear and this giant figure begin conversing like old friends.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like that story a lot. So yeah, they're it's not related. But they're small groups, so he would know him, so for sure.
At least of his people.
Yeah. And no, he's famous for making tiny stone tools for the little people.
I was
mocked him
thinking
for
like
it.
big millstones and stuff like that.
Well, it's still tiny for him, right?
Oh yeah.
he's still
like,
napping
this
flint like this.
Like a watch
Yeah.
tinker.
But yeah, that's feeding the little ones, he called it. So,
Nomads have to stick together, man.
yeah.
And Amala starts going and fetching water to bring back for their flock.
And the big one drops Bill, and Bill just scurries away into the darkness. Shit. Busted by a giant. Oh, it was bad. Well, yeah, I mean, I rolled. It was a weak hit, so I succeeded in stealing, but a complication happened, and that's when I got picked up by the scruff of the neck. So,
Yoink and be yoinked.
yeah.
Okay, so we'll Amala will start with getting water for the flocks and ask Carrot, can you make like a large fire? I think we're gonna need a lot of porridge this morning.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can do that. She'll
And the crows are following
doing
along
that.
with Amala too.
Yes.
back and forth.
It is dawn. I'm sure they're waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gear is going to finish this conversation with this giant and kind of stand up and move along with him. And they're going to go over to the flock, and Gear is going to begin to tend the animals, kind of clean their hooves and check them for any kind of infections or anything like that. Anything that he would traditionally do for these kind of people when their tribes crossed.
Yeah,
Right.
showing hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
Amala called and they came. Okay.
And as Gear is doing that, there's a bit of commotion back from home as a couple of women try to corral Mirabelle from watching these,
Mm-hmm.
people from the safety of the barrier. They're like, trying to corral her back, but she's just watching.
I just have this picture of like a cartoon scene where there's like people in the air jumping, and she's like, wah, wah, like getting out of their way.
Yep. Right past the guard, out down the road, past all the people. Yeah, I could easily see Mirabelle getting to this conversation. So.
In maybe a turn or two.
In a bit, yeah.
Not immediately, but she is curious and wants to know what is going on.
And
There's no stopping her.
seeing what our circle is doing too. Some of the women of the home circle, a couple of them are coming out carrying sort of a basket between them that has got whatever is going into this morning's porridge.
A lot of meat.
Oats, grains, meats, vegetables, whatever. It's all going in.
I'm in charge of breakfast on Wednesdays, not on Thursdays.
It's true, and it's oats both times.
And so the home people sort of join in and yeah, because this is the second circle that's sort of gotten the firstborn that Amala has invited.
And
yeah, and as Caradwin is kind of starting this fire, she kind of like will catch Amala during one of her back and forth and be like, "You called for them?"
Well, not them specifically. The beacon that went up when I raised the barrier?
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of a general call, yeah. Mm-hmm.
A call to who?
Well, the intent was the keepers of the world that's ending. I mean, so I kind of thought the firstborn, the spirit creatures, the shamans, the seers, we could have any number of people arriving.
Could that bring dangerous people to home?
Well, I mean, these are dangerous people.
I mean, like, yes, everyone is dangerous, Amala. We don't need to have philosophical conversations about who's dangerous. I mean, the people like Tincture.
Well, they wouldn't have felt a compulsion towards it, no.
But they would have seen it, potentially.
It was kind of a bright beacon, yeah.
Yeah.
But the barrier's specific to them, so that's...
Would the Bone Walkers have seen it?
Probably not.
I'm just concerned for the safety of home.
Yeah, I know.
So what do we do now?
Well, we have breakfast and then we head off to the Bonewalker Chasm as we planned.
And just leave the giants here? Or let them go off on their own again?
If I tried to ask them, I bet they would just tell me they're going to be, and that it's enough.
Yeah, I thought we established that these people are rather vague and cryptic and annoying to talk to.
Yeah, apparently. I wonder if all the firstborn are like that.
Probably. If patterns continue.
I don't know. Maybe we're the only ones who expect something different. I don't know.
Do you think you should try doing an augury with them?
Well, I mean, I'll certainly invite them if they'd like to. I'm going to do my morning augury. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but if you're not getting answers the very human way, maybe there is a way.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm thinking too. Yeah. Mhm.
I just had a thought.
Yes.
If these giants have a carriage, there's only one thing that's big enough to pull a giant-sized carriage. So as Gira is tending their mammoth,
Yep. That they live in the Tempest Hills area, so
Yep.
I mean,
Absolutely.
Hinterlands, Tempest Hills, they live in that area.
and yeah, Gira is kind of cleaning the feet pads of the mammoth and cleaning the ivory and making sure it's not going to rot and things like that. He's having this conversation with the violent giant, the one he most identifies with,
The Iron Giant.
and he says,
The little one. She called you here, is what she said. I keep hearing her talk to everybody as if their time is ending. Their time is almost as if their life is ending. I feel like that may not be entirely true. You see, we don't understand fully yet what's happening. And just because your time, your rule in this world is coming to an end doesn't mean your existence has to. What we do, we don't hurt people. We take what we need to survive. We don't disturb the balance. I think once we figure this out, maybe I'll be able to tell you the story. We'll go hunting. If you can keep up.
And you get the thump in the shoulder, and you get some inkling of the
that-
real power.
yeah,
that
that's
he's
pretty
got.
much just like he thumps
Knock
him and
him
Gear
flat.
tries not to move, but just goes.
Yeah. Well, it puts that grip earlier where he grabbed your wrist and what felt like he matched your strength. He must have been being very careful.
Oh yeah,
He was being very
Yeah.
gentle. Gear
Yeah.
really knows how to pick who he decides to egg on.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Go for the
Well-
biggest guy in the room.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Gear better be quick because he's not gonna win in a fight against this guy.
So yeah, he thumps you a little bit and says, "Oh, I've got hundreds of years left."
And so there's this rising competition, but
Oh, wait. You don't.
oh fuck.
Carrigan is
Gears.
watching this from afar in amusement. Just
Yeah.
like
Oh,
And
Yep,
I
there's
doubt
an amused
anybody's...
giant, and now there's an amused human.
Yeah. And I doubt anybody saw it, but at some point, feet came out of the forest and crept around by that giant that caught Bill, and then goes wobbling off back under the trees. And
Comes out.
no, we'll
Nope.
see if any. I was just about to say nobody saw this, but let's see.
Nobody
Yeah.
saw it.
No, they bloody didn't. Bill comes out of the trees and climbs up on the wagon and reaches up and puts his you if you could see him, you'd recognize it. It's the pouch full of stolen shit, all those little trinkets. He puts it in the pocket of the giant that caught him, and then back down and back into the trees. And you wouldn't have seen it, not with that number. And then a couple
No,
seconds later, he comes walking out of the trees with his hands up and looks at the giant and says, I'll never steal from you or anybody else ever again. Check your pocket, check your pocket. Don't hit me, check your pocket. And the giant pulls it out. And somebody tell me what that giant does. Bill just said he was never going to steal again and gave them what is obviously something that is very, very valuable to him.
I think seeing the interaction of our circles together, I don't think these would be very. I don't think they would hold a grudge against you.
Oh, you've given me time to think. It just looks down and goes, you are. Got the same giant answer as everybody else gets. Unless you had something else. No.
that works just fine. I don't think they would have much in terms of like demands.
No, and just just for technical reasons, if it ever comes up, he took out the ones that he knows Amala made. He still has those.
Actually, the one that's important is Cadel's token. Well, maybe it's not important anymore, but
No, he would have taken out any of
Potentially.
the ones that belonged to the two of you. I didn't know. I thought I'd given that back to Karen.
No, neither of us were holding it.
no, we
Okay.
entrusted it back to you because it was drawing bad
Right.
things.
Right.
And then
So
you
those,
just
yeah.
gave it
So
away.
those three. Yeah. No. So those three I kept. Yeah. Keep the
No,
ones that.
while they were in Bill's custody, nothing
They weren't,
nothing
Yep.
protected them. They
as
were
far as
safe
we
there.
know.
As far as we know, yeah.
But yes, all
Nice.
the other things that he's stolen over the years, these little
And then
trinkets
and
he
then
gave
once
away,
Bill
so.
seems to have been dismissed, Carradine will kind of like urge him to come over this way.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like
And now
"Here, we
now he'll
made
walk back
food.
into the light. Yeah.
Here, we made food. Like distract yourself.
Ooh,
Yeah, and so
porridge.
there's
Yeah.
food. It's a big, huge cauldron of
Mhm.
porridge. Then they've dug up some large, shields probably.
Yeah.
um, uh,
Of which
well, and
Bill
actually
has
the
one.
giants would have. Well, and actually the giants would have pulled out some of their stuff too in order.
Yeah.
Just one?
Yeah. Well, it takes 2 arms to carry one giant bowl for him.
And so we got animal
Why they
tending
use
underway and
stone?
breakfast making underway and
Bill's got a shield he can hardly carry, and he goes,
Yeah.
"Please, sir, may I have some more?"
and Amala says it is my custom to do some rituals in the morning to ask questions, get our bearings for the day, sort of. Um, I would be honored if you would join me, or if you have questions you would like answered that I can ask the augury for.
I can't Can't imagine they would have any questions.
No,
They
they
seem to have all
don't.
the
You
answers.
know,
They're not willing to share, but they seem to
oh,
have
they
all
don't
the
even have any
answers.
answers.
They
No,
don't have all the
No.
answers. They just
No,
don't.
that's
have
right.
any
You're right. They just don't have
questions.
any expectations. Yeah.
Gear has a question.
Well, Gear
Well,
should bring it
so-
to the table.
Gear should bring it to the circle, and
We are the Knights of the
so
Round Table.
one of them says, well,
Normally, Gear's not a part. Wait, this is our circle, right? When we get around the fire.
Yeah.
yeah, this is
Okay.
our circle. But
I was like, if you guys are starting a
I'm
ritual circle,
inviting-
Gear's just gonna push one of you over and sit down.
But I mean, I invite those of the home folk who are here. Basically, anyone who's here at our fire is welcome to join if they want.
That's when Mirabelle shows up.
Yeah, Mirabelle is now
Yeah.
in Gear's lap.
Bam. Yeah.
Gear finally sits down and is just like blindsided, full body.
Carolyn
Bam!
ducks just in time for him to get whacked.
Yeah.
Mirabelle.
And you hear
She
behind
tactically
you.
hides Mirabelle's approach and just goes,
Yeah. And immediately after the impact, you hear behind you, and you look around at your big buddy giant. You almost got taken out by a 6-year-old.
She's a little older than that. but
I
yeah.
know.
She's older than that. Yeah, she's like 12 or something. Well,
But
but
yeah,
yeah, well,
Gear-
how well does a giant gauge
Yeah,
human?
it's a little,
Yeah.
it's a little one. I mean, how
yeah,
small do you
teensy
get?
they're just making them smaller and smaller every day.
How is it you don't lose them? They're tiny.
Sometimes we
Okay,
do.
so-
We just don't tell their parents.
They don't count well.
Mirabelle
Okay,
should
so
probably not be here for this. Shit, I didn't think.
Nope, but I was on the same wavelength
She's,
that Mirabelle would be here for this.
Mirabelle is an adventurer now. We did that.
Well, she was always wanting to be an adventurer anyway.
But we made her
She
one.
starts braiding Gear's beard.
and our circle with giants at our circle and about
Yeah.
to do an augury. This is an adventure for me.
And Gear is unperturbed. He's looking at Amala like this. And he sits there and he looks to Amala. I have a question for you to ask.
Ask.
What can you tell me of the deer? The one I saw last night. The one we all saw last night.
Did we all see it?
Yeah, because it ran into the fire.
Right. Ooh, that's a good one. Okay.
And for a whole week in my head, I've been going doe, a deer, a green-hued deer.
Okay.
Oh, pay the price.
I have for the whole week. That's
It's better than I've had in my head all week.
Oh,
So Amala stands. I need a whiteboard.
and the
uh,
whiteboard.
Oh,
Let's
boy.
these are.
Plan.
Wait,
I need to draw a diagram.
Yeah.
What do you think I do?
Okay.
Yep.
So Amala
Here I am with my rules.
Amala starts tracing a circle around all of those gathered at this circle. And in her mind, she's walking the labyrinth path and it's centering herself. +1 to ritual, +2 momentum. And she's not scattering salt this time. She's tracing it in the dirt around. Actually, gesture the direction she's going. And she goes around and the crows are following around on the circle. Actually, she's kind of in the middle of the crows. She gets to the end and she stops and she steps into the center and the crows, not yet. She starts by drawing in the essence of the fire and drawing it in, letting it soak into her. Which is and that is where's okay. I had wits just a moment ago. Ah, here it is.
You've lost your wits. Is
I
that what
have
you just
lost
said?
my wits. I did.
Oh,
Oh, wow,
damn
a
those tens.
10 on the
Damn
challenge
those
dice.
tens.
Ooh.
Revenge of the weak
Right.
hits.
We had too many
As opposed to
opportunities
every
last
other
week.
week.
This I need.
Last week we had a lot of opportunities, let's be real.
Yes.
Oh, we did. Okay.
Isn't what am I saying? Isn't we know what a weak hit is now? They answer a different question.
No, that was on the light.
Oh, this is on the light gathering. Okay, so you get
She started with
three.
the light.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, she gets 3 on the light. And then she centers down. She sends out her spirit, and the crows start their interweaving back and forth. And as the crows do their interweaving, she sends out her spirit to call. And now I've lost my wits again. Summaries page.
Summary
Aha,
page.
summary page.
There it is. That's the 10 we've been looking for in the right column this time.
So, as she settles in, it's like a constellation of stars trickle down and join the crows in dancing. And kind of a shimmer comes over Amala. And the shimmer keeps changing colors. It goes blue and it goes green and it goes yellow and it goes orange and it goes, it just sort of cycles slowly through each of the colors, and each of the colors then sort of comes out of the stars and into her and then back out into the stars as they circle around. And Amala's eyes open and the stars are behind her eyes. And as she opens her mouth to speak, it's a very distant and airy voice. And it says, "We are here." And she turns and she sort of looks around at each of the people around the circle. And as she pauses at looking at the white mane sticks its paws over his nose, her nose. And as it comes around to the Awilla starts fidgeting,
Fluffing up its feathers.
fluffing up its feathers and looking
Looking
disheveled and
way.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And she turns, and as she comes to Gear, and she looks at Gear. And says, "Speak, shepherd. Ask your question."
I'm looking for someone. Someone you have. I'd like to visit with her if I can. Where can I find her?
And the colors shift again. And green settles on her. Speak, shepherd.
Gear
Ask your
turns
question.
Mirabelle to face.
I want to know more of this place that you ended up.
I am here.
I know, I don't understand these beyond lives that the others speak of. But you still manifest here. You're tied. You're a defender.
Defender, not tied.
You're free to come and go as you please. But you choose to stay.
Yes.
Interesting. How do I find out more?
Ask.
Why are they afraid of you? I've seen them act strange around certain things.
And he kind of
The-
nods his head towards the spirits.
Oh, the white mane and the Awilla? They are younglings. They wish to hide behind. They wish to hide and peek out.
Meanwhile, Miradel's eyes are like saucers as she watches
Yeah.
this. Like she is like in
And
trance.
Gear is very pointedly holding her so she doesn't like lunge and break Amala's neck.
No, she's not even trying to do that. She's just
Oh,
watching.
lovely.
Just staring, yeah.
And Gear says,
When they die, do they end up with you?
Not with, but as.
My people, we had legends of something beyond, something that tied heroes of yore to this world. They were manifested in the limbs of the trees, in the stars in the sky, in the pebbles in the lakes. Is this true?
To a point.
Yeah. Then you're safe.
To a point.
God damn it.
I wish to learn more. Who can I seek out? Who can put me in touch?
Yourself.
Cryptic and vague.
And how? How do I do this? Can my shaman help me?
To a point.
It's fun, isn't
Shepherd.
it? Isn't it?
Shepherd, listen. And you will know. and your time will come, and it will be clear.
Thank you. For the first time, I believe.
And he cracks a little smile through the spirit at Amala.
I don't know if she'll see that afterwards or if she'll figure that out afterwards or not.
It looks down to Mirabelle.
Say something. This is the defender of your village.
That's pure Mirabelle, man.
And the green, it shifts out, and a light lavender shifts in. And as the green shifts out, it comes and it encircles and it goes through and imbues Mira before it goes out.
As soon as the spirit is gone from Amala, Mirabelle just starts rapid firing questions.
Yeah. Once that's done, Bill is going to walk over to.
Is it done?
Oh, good. Is it?
I got the feeling it wasn't done.
Yeah, because if
Okay,
he doesn't dusk anymore,
No.
I mean, it gradually fades. The colors fade out, and the stars go back into the sky. And as the stars come out from behind Amala's eyes, and she blinks. She turns and she looks at each of the people around the circle. And she smiles with contentment and reaches back and breaks the circle.
Yeah. I like that. Then everything sort of settles down a little bit, and Bill makes his way over to the giant that he had his encounter with earlier. Right, what I was nicking earlier was a bit of chain you had in the back of your wagon. I was just having a look, mind you. I wasn't planning on taking nothing, I was just having a peek, and then I saw it, and if it don't fit just nice around my hand, just like that. So I took it, and I shouldn't have, and I'll give it back now, and now I'm going to be the rudest little prick you ever met, and I'm going to ask for a link of that right out front.
And the giant looks at you with a hint of amusement behind his eyes.
Listen here, you little
Talk
shit.
too much.
He smiles. That's usually an accusation at Amala. And he smiles and he reaches over and pulls out this one.
That's the one there, yeah.
And he reaches and grabs a tool to help sort of separate a link out.
Yeah.
To give it to you.
Thank you very much. I had a chain much like it, only much smaller. This one I only needs the one link. And he slides
it's like,
his... Yeah.
It's a very small, delicate link for them, so it's about yay big.
Exactly.
He's got brass knuckles now,
Pits literally bronze knuckles. Yeah, because it's the Bronze Age we're leaving. So yeah, he slides his hand through, and when he's got time, he's going to take some leather lacing and put it on the inside. So he has literally made himself a bronze knuckle duster. So he now has a weapon.
Danger.
One of the
at which point he looks over at the big scary giant and looks at him and goes, "Oi, oi."
One of the giants will look over to the one that Bill was just talking to. They simply need to ask if they have requirements. Like they're confused as to why you felt like you had to steal it.
Yeah. I know that now, miss, but I'm thick as a brick, me. Oh, I'm sorry. Stupid as a post. Is that one of yours? Dumb as 3 hammers in a sack?
I think we take your meaning.
You talk too much.
You overthink very much.
That all I do. That all I do. But the whole time he's swinging this, trying to get used to swinging this thing around.
And Gear has taken to this lovely pastime that is annoying everybody in home, where he finds the biggest rock he can and throws it as high as he can, and one of the giants smacks it with a hard object, creating this horrible ruckus of cracking wood and
Pebbles.
brick and squeeze of excitement from Mirabelle.
Who is trying futilely, these women are trying to cart Mirabelle away so that she doesn't injure herself more because she is still healing. And
But yeah, she's already picked up a stick and she's using it to fend them off and yelling at Gear, "Throw one at me! Throw one at me!"
And then he picks one of the ladies that's trying to harness Mirabelle and threatens to throw it at her.
and her eyes go wide with like excitement, like, oh!
She goes,
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're
You
starting to
created a
get more
monster.
of the home people around and all
Yep.
this, and it's turning
I
into
imagine
quite a
even the
festival day
shaman
for
is
And
out.
elves.
I think that's fair. I think that kind of, at least from Bill's point of view, let this happen. This is a good day. And
After
yeah,
a relatively bad day.
yeah.
Yeah, after several bad days for the home folks. So yeah, there ends up being kind of a bit of a festival feel, sort of a day off holiday
Yeah.
type thing of being out and picnicking and playing and all.
I mean, how often do you get to picnic with giants? I mean,
Seriously?
even if they are all mystical and difficult to talk to. I love that they're basically Buddhists. I think that is magnificent. That is just.
I mean, that's core rulebook, man. That's
Yeah.
straight
Yep.
from the Ironsworn rulebook.
Yep.
Yep. And Robin and I both interpreted things when I talked to her. We had both read the same thing and out of that. So
Yep.
yeah. So around mid morning, maybe late morning-ish. I mean, Amala's gonna start trying to meet the eyes of the rest of her circle.
Mhm.
Gear is going to take Mirabelle hunting before they leave.
Okay.
It's much to the dismay of the people trying
Yes.
to take care of her. They're like, this rowdy man comes in here.
Gear is going
Uncle
to
Gear, Uncle Gear.
very pointedly walk up to Kamor, who's standing there like holding a spear, and then like as Gear comes closer, he kind of like puts a second hand on it. And Gear is just going to reach out, wrap his hand around the spear, pull it away from Kamor, and walk away.
Mirabelle following after with the white mane following after her.
Yep.
And then in the sight of Kamor, he's going to hand the spear to her.
Yep.
Of course.
And she's
I mean, of course, that's the only way you could have done that.
and
Yeah.
I'm sure Kamor is just like
Oh.
me.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you, Raiders. Thank you for
Ooh.
showing up. We've been raided.
Oh, by
Dead as the Gamer and Company.
Wow.
Thank you, guys. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Yeah. We are, we've put together a village that was all terribly broken. We've kind of slapped some psychic bandages on ourselves. And I
Akir needs
think-
to roll for this hunting trip.
Yep,
Yes,
absolutely.
he does.
And yes, I was going to finish with, and our insane nature boy has decided it would be a very good idea to take an 11-year-old girl hunting.
Who is
Yeah,
still
but
injured and
armed
healing.
her first.
She's still injured and healing, and she's very much, though, she told us the last time we were in this village that she wants to be an adventurer.
She
So-
does so. So,
And she's quite intrepid.
Gear, how do you teach a loud preteen who will not shut up or stand still, as we've seen? I mean, this is Mirabelle. How do you teach her to hunt?
Now, I can imagine, I don't think we directly said that Mirabelle is Shenda's daughter. I don't think that works.
No.
Nope.
I think
No,
it was she's
No,
the
the
wife of Zahn.
The reincarnation of their son's wife, in a
Yes.
way.
In a
And
way,
That
yeah.
was how it worked out.
I was sort of
Yeah.
acting, sort of the
So
reincarnated.
I'm assuming it was kind of like an
acting as-
adoptive child type.
It's
or an adopted
very
It's
grandparent.
complicated.
it's really It was something that we made up that was really on the spot.
Yeah, it
kinda
wasn't
stuff, and it was-
biological parents. It wasn't that.
No,
but
but
it
it's
was,
it's
No.
as close as you can get, and so I would
Yeah.
imagine
Yeah,
that
it
she
was
has
sort of in-laws, and then reincarnated as their granddaughter, and yes.
I can imagine that similar to our shaman, there was able to be some training that was pounded in through the thick skull. So
What? You've gotten training into me? I mean,
Oh,
I know
no,
I hear
no,
it.
Weena
I
did.
tell
I mean,
people.
Weena did
No,
it.
actually,
Weena did.
now that
yeah,
you
she
mention-
did. So.
Yeah, now that
I mean,
you
I do
mention
say
that,
that Gear keeps telling me things, so I hear it and I recognize when the Gear tells
Yeah.
me these things.
I would imagine that she probably adapts pretty well to holding the spear because she spent most of her time with Shenda.
Yeah.
I was going to say you lead her
With
into
Shenda
the
and
forest,
Zahn. Yep.
not looking back because you really want to, because you want to see the look on that idiot's face, but you're not going to give him the pleasure.
Oh,
So
he
you
knows
walk
the
into
look
the
on that
forest out of
idiot's
sight.
face.
You turn around to start the lesson, and she's already crouched and has she's got that nice loose grip. All those. She's showing real signs of skill.
Gear turns to say something and she's gone. She knows
Oh,
these
even
woods
better,
than
yeah.
he does.
Yeah.
And then he turns around and there's a spear in his face out of one of the bushes.
Yep.
No.
I
It's
like it
even
even
better.
better.
It's even better. She comes down from the trees
Yeah.
And he's like,
and lands on his back.
Yep.
I've
he
been
just-
training since I was 4.
Shenda
Holy
taught me.
shit. And so he's going to go with the White Mane and with Mirabelle, and they are going to go hunting. And similarly to when he hunts with other people, he is going to use himself and the White Mane to kind of corral their quarry into a space where the person that he's helping can make the strike to take it down.
And if he goofs, he gets shot.
Usually puts him
Yeah,
in harm's
yeah.
way.
You get stabbed
but
in the
that's-
ass if it all goes wrong. So
That's fine. So what I'm going to do is I am going to use all of my training.
I just heard Mirabelle's voice going, "I stabbed him right in the ass." Oh, bum! I
I am going to secure an advantage and let Mirabelle take this thing down.
Yep. Oh dear.
I'm gonna burn my momentum. I'm not
Momentum
ready for a
at-
complication.
Momentum.
Oh, that would have
I'm
been
not
bad.
taking the
You
complication.
take
Sorry,
her out
guys.
and you get Mira killed.
a complication, and you roll. Yeah, that would be bad. So,
This is what
with no
momentum's
momentum
for.
remaining,
And so
how does it almost go horribly wrong?
now, when they go out hunting, Gear starts small with rabbits and things, but comes across this perfect opportunity to take down this buck, right? Which is strange because this forest is just coming back to life after their encounter with the anti-dryad, and thinks twice a couple times about putting Mirabelle in this situation because of how absolutely ludicrously dangerous it is, but has some faith in her because even though she's young and she's hard-headed, she knows how to work a spear, and she was trained by Shenda, right? And so as he and the White Man are moving on all fours, just ripping through the forest, trying to corner this thing, they finally get it into a place where they can get it. And as Gear heads off with it, rather than what he traditionally does is scare this thing, it makes a stand. And it begins to come at him. And as he takes a couple steps back, not anticipating this, a spear out of the bushes, right in the neck, brings this thing down to the ground. And Gear is frozen there for a second with a look of him like he's really impressed on his face before he's able to wipe it off. Which probably is not going to do anything fantastic for Mirabelle's ego. But
I was like, given her level of competence that we've decided she has, she just pulls the spear out, pulls a little dagger off of her belt, and starts gutting it.
Mhm.
Just starts opening it up.
and they probably stay out there for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Every now and
And-
then while they're gone, Caradvin and Amala and Bill are kind of like,
Oh no!
They-
What is the maniac doing with the young
are
lady
they
in the
gonna
trees?
come back? Are they gonna come back?
I would probably say a
I
couple
don't hear him
hours.
yelling.
I don't hear a shrill scream.
I would probably say there's a couple hours that they're gone because Gear's brought everything he owns with him. Like, it's all on his person.
No, Amala,
Yeah.
Caradvin, and Bill is assuring Zon, like, no, she's fine. She's in capable hands.
Yeah.
Zon would know, though. He's pretty in tune with the woods. And
Oh, yeah.
as you guys are like, she's,
And he
we
knows
promised he didn't take her out to kill her, and he's probably just sitting there with just a shit-eating grin on his face, like, I can see him, dummy.
Mhm.
But
Well,
yeah,
and-
Gear and Mirabelle are
Mira.
probably out there for a long time. And when they finally come back, Gear comes out with this carcass thrown over his shoulder that's been cut into many pieces, but all the guts and everything have been removed. And as he kind of comes out lugging this thing, coming up behind him with a pelt cape that still needs to be dried and
And
is just
fresh
like
antlers.
sticking, and
Yep.
a headdress with
head.
fresh
Yep.
antlers that are still gory and just pasted to her skin.
Yep.
and she's
Haven't
just
been dried yet.
beaming.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Covered in dry, crusty deer blood. And
The caretakers that have been looking after her wounds are just, you
Yeah,
know, just
A couple
like,
of them are just like,
I don't imagine that because like they live in the Bronze
but she's
Age, like,
just
This is they're a hardy
grinning.
folk.
She
and
is
she's, like,
grinning and
skipping
walking like
beside. No, she's
yeah,
skipping
walking like
beside
skipping
Gear.
like she's 10 feet tall, like she owns the world.
Well, yeah, because Gear didn't treat her like an invalid.
Nope, he did not. He didn't even treat her like a child. He taught her like an equal, as far as I would seeing it from her point
Just
of view,
like
at least.
Shenda.
Yes, just
Yeah.
like Shenda did. Yep.
And actually, while they're out, so Amala is back at the headman's hut. You know, steps back from all the festivities and stuff for a little bit. Has to be back at the headman's hut, and she has 2 items with her. And she comes right outside of the hut and goes into her submissive waiting stance.
You waiting for Zon?
Mhm.
Yeah. I can hear you out there. Come in.
And she comes in. Thank you for the use of your knife. And she hands it back to him, held first, of course.
It takes him a couple of grabs, but he gets it and just reaches over and puts it on the shelf where it goes.
And I'm not sure what to do with this. It came up, well, Mira and Gear brought it in during the ceremony, and I gather it was Shenda's. And she pulls out the spearhead, the iron spearhead, and hands it out to him.
He waves it away.
It's gonna be like, what the fuck is it?
He clearly, without looking, I mean, he's blind. He knows what it is, and he's not accepting it.
So I don't know if it should go to Mira or if it should stay here with the circle as part of the defense. I could tell that it was active in the ceremony last night, but I don't know what role it plays.
For someone with eyes you cannot see.
That's why I come to you.
That's empty.
What do you mean empty?
It's just a piece of iron now. It's just a piece of wood. The magic that was in it came out last night. Here. You said it was Shenda's. It's more like it was Shenda. She doesn't need that body any more than she did her other body now. She has a new one here, in the form of that shield. Not to mention, I think she's very fond of that doe.
It's certainly a useful object that could be used by your warriors.
Or by yours. I can't help noticing your wolfman lacking his claws. He doesn't clatter half as much as he used to when he was in here.
Well, do you have the tools? Does your circle have the tools to reshape this out of iron? We're not carrying tools like that.
We could rehaft it for him.
I
Austin
suppose I could
nodding.
ask him if he'd like to change to a sphere.
I would prefer it did not stay here. It is a dark memory of a bright person.
We will take it then.
And thank you. You did what our shaman was unable to do. Not once, but twice, and we are not your circle. Your circle is very lucky.
Twice?
What do you think you did the first time you were here?
I don't remember other than fleeing those bone walker things.
You allowed us to maintain the shield. You gave us the power to continue it.
But we
You
took
saved
it down.
us and allowed us. And by doing so, by doing the one thing we would not do, you made it possible to rebuild it and put it back up when you returned. You opened us to the world when we needed to be open to the world. And then you gave us a shield against it when we needed it.
I hope I haven't called a bunch of neighbors to your door. I might have, but I think they're all, well, you heard it, I'm sure.
Shenda
I
will
think
protect us.
you and I think they're all smart enough to follow me rather than come specifically here.
And
But you
those
would know
foolish
that better
enough,
than I would too.
those foolish enough to come here will meet Shenda in all of her new splendor. And they will not do well.
Splenda.
Oh, pay the price, Austin.
Shenda in all her splendor.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh shit.
Well, speaking of bone walkers, we're going to be off again. We're heading to their chasm. Don't know what taking a hunk of iron like this into their chasm's going to do, but it'll be interesting. We might, Gear might want to take you up on the offer of having it rehafted.
They told me that the last time you were here, that valley glowed for a whole night. Is that you?
Well, there's some debate about that.
So yes.
No. I mean, I started the little glow, yes, but I wasn't even there when the big glow started.
And you look down and the spearhead is glowing with your light, and you didn't know.
Oh dear.
It seems you
I
have
gotta
an
get this to
affinity.
Gear.
And as you're running out, you hear, you seems you have an affinity with iron. Shaman.
Yeah.
Pitter patter, pitter patter.
Thank you.
Carradine watches as she runs away, like,
We should have called the last 2 episodes frustrating
Carradine is
conversations.
sitting there sharpening, like whittling her bow, watches Amala like respectfully enter and then just sprint out. Like,
Not sprinting, but retreating expeditiously.
and it's like,
With a
well,
glowing
guess I gotta go
spearhead.
kill someone.
Yeah.
starts shaving faster.
Someone heard Amala.
Well, so I gather that we should seek to have this rehafted.
I can imagine that there are plenty of people that can rehaft a spear. In this.
Oh yeah. And,
In this village,
they're
in this
lining
circle
up
that does,
to do it for
yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, we apparently need a new.
Kamor now spearless is.
We
Yeah,
apparently
Mirabelle
need,
will not give him his
Yeah.
spear back. Like, just no.
We apparently need a new shaft for this. We've been asked to take this away, and
Oh,
yeah, we're probably going to need to be able to poke it at something. So,
Mirabelle
and I'll hand it off to whoever
walks-
takes it.
They go to take it. Mirabelle comes up and grabs it, and just casually reaches in and pulls out the broken haft. Like, you shouldn't be able to do this. Just pulls it out and drops it, and leans that against her leg for a second and takes that spear that she just went hunting with gear, pulls the head off of that, and puts that shaft into this head, and turns
hands it
around
back
and
up.
presents it to Gear with all the solemnity she can muster.
Gear
Not a
reaches
war
You
down.
might want to check it. It might be a little loose.
Gear has used other weapons before. He just prefers the
Yep.
But he's used bows and spears before, so he picks it up and gives it a few twirls. Nothing super showy, but kind of
Yeah.
tests its balance, right? Even though it was kind of made for somebody that's a bit shorter than he is. But he inspects it and he goes,
What is this? This is mine.
Well, we've been asked to take it away from home.
This piece of iron is mine now, to do with as I wish.
he holds the spear out, measures it a bit, grabs the haft over his knee, breaks a couple of the splinters off, spins it once in his hand and hands it back to Mirabelle. A little more her size now.
I don't carry iron. This is a warrior spear. Belongs to a warrior.
And she'll take it. And then full covered in deer pelt with deer head with spear runs to Zonstead
Yeah.
to go tell him about what happened.
We might want to be on our way. Like now.
Gear,
And she
Gear
grabs Gear's
knows.
arm. And she grabs Gear's arm very much like she did way back at Kinheim all that time ago. It's like,
Yep.
we need to move now. And
Let's run.
turns him around and shoves him.
Gear knows that that Zon is watching, and as Amala's got like two hands and like just like sliding the dirt trying to push him, he begins to walk forward.
And Mirabelle talks Zon's ear off
Yep.
about everything.
With sound effects, and she goes, I was hiding in the bushes and
Well, because she's this little kid. I mean, she grew up around Zon. He's blind. She knows she needs to be like a little bit more exaggerated.
Yeah.
She can't
Really,
use
really
body
tell
language.
the
A
story.
child
Yeah.
of a blind person knows what you need to do to get the picture across.
I can imagine that this blind man with milky white eyes, as soon as Gear snapped that haft, he just rolled him like with the best of them.
Yeah. Damn
Like,
it.
Knew what was
God.
coming.
Yeah. Well, with that, I think that and the quick glance at the clock tells me that it is time to take a quick break. So let's take sort of 15 minutes here for those that are watching live. Let's come back at like 10 minutes to the hour. It's 10 minutes to the top of the hour. We will see you then. Thank you so much for watching and listening. This maniac story of I don't know what will continue in about 15 minutes. We'll see you then. And that should be us back. I'm just going to check to make sure because Twitch was doing a weird thing before we went on break, and I want to make sure. It's a very long lag. But we'll just keep talking and talking and talking. I'm waiting to see and checking.
there.
We
I
have the
see
thing.
us.
I saw
You
it.
see us already? Okay, it's just mine then. It's taking forever. All right, that's fine.
Solar
shouldn't be
sees us.
watching-
It's all good.
Yeah, I shouldn't be watching that anyway. I should be watching what we're doing. So we are back, and we have we've caused a little mayhem. We solved a lot of problems, and then basically threw a lit fuse into a fireworks factory. But we'll see how that goes. It's not really our problem anymore. We're leaving.
No, we're leaving
Yeah,
expeditiously. Scoop, 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 scoop.
expeditiously retreating. We'll probably get sued for that. That's probably trademarked.
Shenda, or not Shenda, Mirabelle is breaking all the rules. She's
Yep.
kept some things on, wants to get rid of. She's running with sharp objects.
Yep. She's flailing them around in his presence, probably knocking over
Covered
his
in
stuff.
blood.
She's covered in,
Tracking, yeah,
in an
blood and
untreated
gore.
deer skin with antler horns.
Still wounded and recovering.
Telling Zahn about how she stabbed it in the throat. I stabbed it in the throat, right in the throat, and it just went bang.
Okay, but
And
to be
since
honest,
Gear
Dawn
is
used
now
to it at this
Oh, yeah.
point. She did this with Shenda, I guarantee.
Yes. Oh, yes. This is not new.
Oh yeah, I'm sure
one
he's
thing
just
I
grinning.
forgot to add is as this whole scene's played out and Gear is being rushed away, he's come back in and is holding his hand out for his spear. And as Mirabelle has replaced it, Gear has broken it. He's just sitting there still with his hand out, and as Gear is running, he just takes the deer carcass and throws it into his arms and begins to move away.
So we will remove that bond.
Oh, yeah. What?
And
That's
so
not a
we-
true bond between warriors?
we gather our horses. I assume at least in my head, I see it. There's on the more calm ones of these giants that we've met. Most of them have a small grin on their face, but I like to think the one that Gear was wrestling with is openly laughing as we leave,
And
as
it's
we flee the
thunderous.
scene.
It's thunderous.
Yeah,
We're
the whole
talking-
valley's just rippling.
We're talking knee slapping,
Oh yeah.
hardy.
Yeah,
gut
the other ones are
laughter.
looking at him like, dude, come on.
Chill.
A
They've got
little
reputation to
decorum.
uphold.
We
Yeah.
had them convinced.
We have a reputation to uphold, man.
Yeah.
I can
And
imagine
then he
that,
snorts.
that when those giants are on their way in their carriage and it's dead silent and they're traveling, he just keeps going.
Yeah. So we grab our horses
So
'Cause
we're
we
heading
remembered we had
out.
them. and
Yes.
we are out. So we are undertaking a journey, one
To
would
the
assume.
chasm.
We're headed to the chasm, and it's what, about
Yes,
half a
we
day we
are.
determined before?
Yep.
Yes. Half a day.
Am I rolling
So-
this, or is this this count as Bill's or Amala's?
Is Amala gonna roll for the going to the chasm since it was her idea, or is it
That makes sense to me. Yeah, I like that. So yeah,
I could. All right.
I guess
my
we kind
season,
of.
but it's your part of the story. So
I guess
Yeah.
troublesome is the minimum we can make it.
Well, I
So-
figure that we're not gonna mark progress.
Oh, we're just gonna
on the
one roll
journey. It's
this.
just gonna just one roll to see
Just to
like
see
do
how
we
it
get
goes?
there on time, or
Absolutely.
do we run into a complication?
Yeah.
So you guys remember last
I was
week
thinking
when
the same
I
thing.
took shit. I took that note. I did. I have it right here. I did forget to do music again.
I even reminded you. We reminded you beforehand.
Oh, welcome to the failure club. Just accept it. Just let it flow through you.
I'm a space cadet, so
So while you get the music together, Amala can undertake a journey to the Valley of Light.
Do we have any sort of?
Well, we're leaving from a
I
place
don't
from which
think,
we have a bond, so that's
but I
one.
don't think. Do we? But does that actually add to it? Oh
Let me
yes,
see.
add 1 to your initial roll. Yes, it
Yeah.
does.
I've done it enough. I should know all these answers and questions.
Yeah, because you did it for what, the first 16 weeks?
The fall, the whole fall.
Yep.
I think it's just +1.
Okay. Strong hit.
Hey,
So we
get
have
there?
no particular trouble getting there.
which makes
Yep.
sense because we've been there multiple times now.
It also makes
and
sense because
we
all the
get
trouble
one
is
momentum.
And we
Yeah.
take 1 momentum, but
Oh no, sorry,
suffer
that's
1
if we
supply.
want to do it that way, or we can just
Oh, choose 1. Make
Yeah.
good use of our mark progress or move
Just
at
progress, I
speed.
think, yeah.
Yeah, just progress. We don't need to add the momentum for this.
That makes sense.
Okay, so as I recall, Austin, you were the one who was going to describe what we see when we get there.
Are you ready though?
That's
Let
a
me
silly
search up the
question.
music of the
We're
picture.
never going to be ready for this.
The phrase is
Austin.
ready or not. Here
This
I come.
was-
yeah.
So.
This was just everything was just going too well this session, so
I was gonna say going too well. We just had a funeral, but this session.
But this
okay.
session, yeah.
and so as we get kind of closer and closer to this chasm in the earth that has this river running through it, it's clear that and I think the music is giving it away, but the creatures have gone from this area, and it's this kind of sickly weighted feeling as we take each step kind of closer and closer to this, that something is going on. It's kind of thick in the air, and as the nerves begin to kind of churn and rise, there aren't any bone walkers or anything that we encounter on the way there, but as we kind of break out of the trees into this kind of pasture before the chasm, we can see clear across the chasm there's some kind of activity going on, and this is a couple 100 feet away at the very least. It would take quite a bit of moving to get over there, so this is probably something that we could not interfere with, but there's a man standing there, and this man is kind of dawn in this black clothing. And Bill would immediately recognize this man.
As would Amala.
Has Amala
Yeah,
seen the Iron Collector?
She has
Yep.
seen him because in her augury.
And he would recognize the thing that he's reaching for as well, because him and Gear have been close to it once before. The last time they saw this piece of iron was offered to this sacrificial bone altar that rose up out of the earth and formed out of all these various parts this platform that they were going to be sacrificed on. And as this kind of roiling mass of tar rises to the surface of the earth and kind of crystallizes these bones out of it and holds this piece of iron out to him, he reaches out and wraps his hands around it and pulls it free from the bones. And almost as a salute, raises it to the four of us watching from across the cavern. And knowing that we're too far away to do anything, turns his back and begins to walk. And as he does so, he reaches out for these iron chains and grabs onto them that essentially are functioning as reins on this creature that he is wresting control of. This huge crystal blue wyvern that has iron spikes driven into its wings. And as he collects all of the chains, throws his leg over it, yanks on him. The wings begin to beat, and he picks up and begins to go off over the trees.
Caradwin, what's the status of your bow?
Yeah, she could have shot him. Yeah, she can. She will try. Hopefully before he gets in the air, I just got to combat moves. I'm gonna strike. Or do I have to enter the fray first?
I think you would have to enter the fray first.
And because that gives you the option of losing initiative, and I would suggest if you lose the initiative, he's out of range.
I missed
too
it,
stunned,
yeah.
And Gear would say to her, as she quickly whips the bow off of her back.
Yeah, no.
Full blown miss. Wow. Okay.
And that would basically, I know. Okay, so as you kind of whip this out and you go to draw it back, Gear would step in the way.
No, don't. The creature is one of them. It's a spirit.
Wasn't aiming for the creature.
You could have hit it.
Burn.
And she'll look to Bill and Amala. Was that him?
That's the one it is. We're too late then.
But not by much. Which way is he going?
I guess he would be going.
Well, that way, obviously, but
Well, because he came from the ragged coast and was going up, so he's probably going north. Yeah?
Let me look at
Yeah,
that.
I guess he would be kind of heading in the direction of the Tempest Hills.
Yeah, because towards Kenheim.
Back towards Kinheim. Wasn't he coming from Kinheim? Oh, no, he might not have been yet. No,
yeah,
he
was seen in that area, rumored to be
yeah.
in that area.
No, he's not there yet. He's on his way to Kinheim. So yeah, they fly off toward Kinheim.
So this is kind of northeast.
Mm-hmm.
Gear, that was the spirit?
Gear looks at Caradwin.
Yes, I could feel it.
It looks like it was corrupted by iron in some way.
Those chains he was using, those are the ones they used to take down the White Mane, the first one. When they stole her from the trees, they drove those spikes into her.
Blue wyverns. Blue wyverns are very far north, close to the Shattered Wastes. They barely come down towards people.
So they've started in the north.
Started in the north.
No, they started.
Maybe they're zigzagging.
They started in the deep wilds.
I need to go find that place where that iron rod was in that river. Excuse me, just a moment. And I'm off the horse and heading for that spot. I will, miss. I will.
He's moving north.
Yes.
And he knew better than to attack us.
He had what he needed.
He's collecting iron and we have iron. So he knows better.
But where is he bringing it?
That direction.
Does he
We don't-
return it Does he return what he collects every time, or does he do several per trip?
Caradwin's going to try and gather information from the area. She's going to look around.
I'm going
And
over
what?
to the riverbank, pull off my boots, wade out to where it was. And in my head, there's sort of a fan of rust.
Wow, okay. I see. You miss your investigation.
That's bad.
Dire threat or reveals unwelcome truth. Well, this okay.
Bone walkers.
No.
No! You already said. Austin said there are no bone walkers here.
I'm gonna pay the price and see what happens.
It literally says bone walkers.
No,
does not.
I had an idea. I had an idea, and I'm gonna go with my idea rather than
Go with
do
your idea.
another separation thing because we've had that happen multiple times already.
Yes.
I'm changing the color of my dice because I've missed it twice in a row. So Caradwin kind of follows after Bill to, the direction where the guy had been standing, where the wyvern was, and she's looking for any kind of clue and anything that could tell them like where he's going, what his goal was, whatever. And she stops as she finds, just, some debris that was, from the wyvern, this large wyvern, and from him in general. And it's a piece of cloth that he had on his person or was from him. And she stops. These colors are of Edgemore.
Do you think he's from Edgemore?
I don't know.
Is that close to Frostmouth?
It's part of it's a steading that's part of our circle. It's the steading Vaden's from.
Should we go to the north then?
I guess we have to. Doesn't make sense. Any of it, but what about the spirit you were looking for, dear?
I think she's fought at the south.
Are you okay with waylaying that trip?
We must. We need to find out what happens with the iron.
Yeah. Amala, do you think Kenheim is in danger? Do you need to reach out to Weena?
Not as much as I want to reach out to that wyvern.
Careful, it'll bite your fingers off.
I want to know if it's enough of itself that it heard the call.
It looked unlike itself. At least what most wyverns look like. But
Yeah.
I don't know spirits.
Gear will say,
No, I don't think so. I think when they put those spikes in them, they lose whatever sense they have of themselves.
Oh, it's someone from.
We continue to the north, then. We stop by Kinheim to see if they're in danger.
It's like a day and a half to Kinheim.
Something like that, yeah.
I think a little longer than that.
Well, we figure that out.
Yeah.
Bill pulls off his boots and heads out into the stream. And it's easy to find the spot because there's sort of this fan of rust from where the piece of iron was. And just reach down and grab just a little pebble that's all covered in this rust. And holds it up. Watches it kind of drying in his hand with the rust on it. Right. Well, I'm already tracking 3 maniacs. Might as well make it 4. And just put that in my pouch. He's got plans for that. That's it. And then he comes back to the group.
Getting to Frostmouth is going to take a while. It's a long trip through the mountains.
Can the horses make it?
They will be able to. We can get carts through. There's roads. It's just precarious this time of year.
Well, what else do we need to know here? I mean, at this point, it's mid-afternoon. I'm assuming we don't want to camp here.
No,
No.
no, definitely not. Well, we might as well start our journey then. Get at least a couple hours under our belts.
Just get moving.
Yeah.
So, Kinheim or directly towards Frostmouth?
I don't think Kinheim's too far out of the way, right?
No, there's a direct route from Kinheim to Frostmouth. We'd have to go through probably by Kinheim to get there the most direct way anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like
And then I can figure out.
I don't suppose we could reroute another way around?
Yeah, Bill's just watching Amala's reaction.
Carrigan looks at Amala. We could try, but it would take longer.
All right. Kinheim it is.
It'll give Robin some time to figure out the timeline of getting from Kinheim to Frostmouth.
Robin, I think, has to roll us another journey then, I think.
Yeah,
Robin?
we've kind of switched
Nah,
again, haven't we?
Amala to get to Kinheim.
Oh, right under the
Yeah,
bus.
that's fair. Yeah, that's yours. That's
Have
yeah.
you seen my rolls? Have you seen the 2 rolls I've done today?
I know. I like this. Amala to get us to Kinheim, and then once we turn for Frostmouth, we're back into Caradwin rolling for sure.
You gotta.
Okay. So should I subtract 1 from the fact that we're setting off from a hostile place?
Ooh,
Since I would add one if we were heading off from a place we had a bond with.
That's true, and we don't.
I never had you as a member of Team Bonewalker, but I like it.
We never. Well, and we never had like a straight shot from the chasm to Kinheim, so it's like kind of like redirect.
Yep.
Yeah, because we want to go. We don't want to go back through home. We want to head a little more straight towards it. Okay.
Which also then is going to be in the wake of this creature too, so anything could be there. Oh, wow.
Oh, God.
That the dice have spoken. You rolled
Well,
a 1. And one of the challenge dice was a 10.
Okay, so on a weak hit, we mark progress but suffer when supply, which makes sense for moving fast. Needing momentum to push through to that makes some sense.
On a miss,
Yeah.
we're waylaid and pay the price.
By a perilous event. Well, folks, do we want to push through?
You want to roll on the oracle table, see what happens?
Let's see what kind of paying the price is.
Oh no.
Does
Well,
Lena reach out?
Or is it home?
We should leave home alone.
Oh no.
oh,
Poor Holm has
Twice?
suffered so much.
we left home alone, and then we went away, and then we came back, and then we left home alone too.
Oh God.
God, I'll get 3.
You can make the worst puns tonight. I still like Splenda. I think that was a good
No, I
one.
thought
that was.
I enjoy all puns. equally.
So where
I'm
we've been or where we're
inclined
going?
to go with momentum. I'm inclined to go with momentum and push through.
Okay.
Because Kinheim wouldn't be in danger of him quite yet, because, like, I mean, he may be on a wyvern, but, like, I'm sure he's got
Well,
pit stops.
Kinheim's not under threat from him, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
burning some momentum. We have a week
But that would
hit,
also
which
just
means
make us go faster in that direction.
So we
So our
lose
supply is now
supply goes-
4. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so it is time to make evening camp.
Yes. So
And Amala is feeling nervous enough. She's going to do her light ritual again tonight.
Jared, I will roll for make camp because I changed the color of my dice. Oopsie, knock on wood. Where did
And
it
we're still near
go?
the Bonewalker Cavern, right?
Well,
we're
we
a couple
moved
hours away.
Close,
Yeah.
and we used some momentum, so we pushed through. We're probably a good 4 or 5 hours from there.
Fair, yeah.
Oh, thank God. Okay. On a strong hit, you and your allies may each choose 2. Recuperate, partake, relax, focus, or prepare.
Let's see here.
So
Turn this up so everybody can see it. There we
once
go.
again, okay. Let's see here.
It's in
Maybe-
adventure moves. Make camp.
I don't think.
I'm gonna focus and take momentum.
I'm gonna take momentum, and then I'll take the prepare so that we can have a +1 to the undertake a journey one next time.
Here is going to try something as well.
It doesn't seem to want to let me have 10 momentum. It's telling me my maximum is
nope.
9, and I don't know how to change that.
What were you-
guys.
What were you trying to
I
do?
was gonna try to secure us an advantage, but apparently not.
Secure us an advantage for what?
We're traveling through where all the Bone Walkers
there we
are.
Well, we're making
Well,
Maybe
so
that's
your
not a
assumptions
price.
betray you. There are no bone walkers here.
Yes, we miss
I have
the
to
Bone
pay the
Walkers
price.
completely.
We go the curvy route away from them.
I'm gonna add 1 to my failure track. Guys, this is awful.
So we make camp. Carradman sets off a nice cozy fire.
Yep.
A surprising development complicates your quest. Oh, yeah. And so as Gear is... Originally, I pictured it as if we're going to start a fire in this woods, we're basically in hostile territory. He's going to look for something to burn to keep the wildlife away, or some old witch's tale that he can spread or rub on his body that will keep things from tracking him. But as he's kind of walking, patrolling through the forest, he has this kind of vision that is delivered to him, but rather than him watching it, it's more of he's there. And there's this flash shifting of him moving low to the ground through the jungle, and the stabbing pain of a stake being driven into his shoulder, and then the other shoulder, and him being pinned to the earth and dragged backwards through the trees.
Harsh.
And
So do
he
we
kind
have
of
to go looking for him?
oh no, he has this vision.
Okay,
it's him.
vision.
It's not him,
right.
but he
Yeah.
like holds his head, and as he kind of comes back to, kind of shakes it off. Let's see how he handles stress, guys.
Yeah, that's an endure stress for sure.
I finally rolled something, guys.
You kicked the hell out of stress.
You're like, I'm not stressed. Never met her.
You Chuck Norris that stress.
Embrace the darkness. I'm doing it.
Yeah, but tell us something new.
Things have just gotten worse. I'm gaining momentum.
Yeah, Gear has just had a vision that the Midnight Mantle that he was going to go liberate has been captured by this thing. And as he has this vision of the creature being impaled and trapped with iron, it spurs him onward. He just lashes out at the nearest thing, channeling his immediate anger. And as soon as that's gone, he's resigned to heading north. He's going to move forward, and he is going to make this guy answer for what he has put these spirits through.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why Caradwin was like, are you sure? Like, I know this is important to you, and we've already gone away from that direction.
Well, this
Mhm.
this is just a vision, so I think this probably isn't happening because he is also heading north. This is probably something that could happen, or is a
Could
trick
happen.
being played.
Or it's like his fear manifesting and like this will
Yeah.
happen, but that's that's probably what happened to this wyvern or whatever. Yeah. Was that on your light
Three.
ritual?
Three more.
That's on the setting the circle.
Right.
+2 momentum, +1 to ritual. Momentum's way down at the bottom.
Yep.
Okay, so that's setting the circle. Then light.
Cursed
Those-
tens
those
on the
tens,
challenge dice.
man.
Okay, and
So
then
three
setting
more.
the ward.
So we're standing there just watching Amala just do one ritual after another after another.
No, I mean, it's a whole ritual of rituals,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She sets the circle and prepares her mind, and then she takes in the light, and then she's setting the ward on the circle.
Yep.
Uh, 3.
There we go.
So we have a good ward. Let me go back to assets and remove 1 light. I'm back down to 2 light.
And once we've kind of settled and at camp with this fire and warded, Caradwin's gonna look to Amala. Amala, do you think you could, I don't know, augur scry on Vadin at all?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
I'm sorry, ever since we spoke with that seer and she said things about this throne and this, I've had a bad feeling. And I don't know, it might be stupid, but our settings aren't that big, and Edgemore is a coincidence I'm not willing to overlook.
Okay. Yeah, do you want to do it now? I haven't broken my circle yet. Actually, my circle's warded.
I don't want to put stress on you. I don't know when the best time to do things like that is. Um,
The best time is when you have the question.
yeah,
Okay, let's do it, guys.
Carradine will pull gear in.
Yeah. Yeah. Bill steps into the accustomed position across the circle.
Okay, let's see. I've already set the circle. I've already set the ward. Okay, so recenters, sends out the spirit to call the crows. And the crows come and they start the circling. Let's see, what do I have? Okay.
Nice.
And as she settles in and sends out the spirit, and the crows come to a stop. And Amala opens her eyes, and the stars are behind her eyes. And she looks at Caradwin and says, "Ask your question."
Does Vadden have anything to do with the spirits being corrupted by iron?
And a shimmer comes down as an illusion passes over Amala. And a vision of a woman that you recognize as one of the not slaves, not servants, working, low class working person in there. And she's clearing out to change the rushes around the floor. And you recognize that you recognize the house. And as she's working kind of over one side, Vadden and one of the warrior men come walking in, and they're deep in conversation. And the other warrior kind of glances at the woman, but Vadden takes absolutely no notice of her at all. And she gets this kind of hunched posture as she's trying to disappear, and she's trying to edge her way around the room back out towards the entrance and out. But as she's going, she hears this conversation. And Vadden is asking the warrior, "So what have you found out?" It's like, we don't know how he got in. We don't know how he got out. All we know is that he did. We have found no traces at all. And he's just snapping. It's like, that is not good enough. We have that area under constant guard. How can no one have seen this? We don't we don't know. It's how much did he take of it? He took it all. He took all of it that we had stored there. It's like how can he even do that? We have been saving that up for so long. What are we going to do now? What are we going to forge with now? I wanted that for weapons. I wanted that for us to become stronger. You know that. And he sort of swipes out and backhands the man. It's like, just get out of my sight. I'm done. And as the warrior tries going out, he trips over the woman who just freezes like a rabbit who's caught. And the man swears and gets up and sort of kicks at her, taking out his frustration, his anger, and all that as he sort of stomps out. And the woman stays frozen there as Vadden is sort of stomping back and forth, pacing and what have we got? What have we got to confine this? We've got to have something. We've got to know something. There has got to be something. And as he's clearly not paying attention, she continues backing her way out and backs out into the shadows. And the image dissipates. And the stars leave from behind Amala's eyes and arise back up into the night sky. Did that answer your question?
In a way, yes. And in a way, it caused so many more.
Caradwin, I don't think you know how to hear an answer. You always come up with 10 more questions every time.
I learned it from you.
Oh, well, that's fair.
No, I just, I'm presuming he was talking about a store of iron. And if he was in Frostmouth, we didn't have stores of iron like that. We don't weaponize. He's doing something.
If it was under guard, whoever was seeking it would have to know somebody on the inside.
He doesn't seem like the subtle sort. He wasn't subtle at all in Bill's experience, and he wasn't subtle at all at the chasm. And we heard a report that, he was in the area, so people know.
Oh, he's flying a wyvern. That's hard to miss.
Hmm. Do you think there are more?
More,
More collectors?
perhaps. Or Vadden knows exactly who took it. And he helped them do it.
We don't know how far this web has been cast. We don't know who's tangled in it.
At this point, I'm starting to think everybody's tangled in it. Do we know anybody who's not?
Gear smiles a little bit.
3 of you, 4 of us. You know that for certain.
Bill's been really quiet this whole time. He's taken out that little rock with the rust on it. He's kind of worked off all the rust onto his thumb. And he can turns his back to the fire a little bit as it's getting dark so he can create some shadow. Starts rolling the shadow into the rust. And it kind of makes this little tube of iron again. And he's muttering the whole time. Gonna find the rest of you. Yeah, you're gonna find your father, that great big chunk what that bastard took. Yeah, we're gonna find him, We are just like a compass, you are, aren't you? Yeah, you just want to go home to the rest of you, don't you? And he makes this little double-ended pin of iron and pulls out a little piece of cork and a little pin and balances it on the top. Where are you at now? And it works just like a compass, except it doesn't point north. It points in a direction that we were already pretty sure the collector went in.
Well, that's pretty handy.
Well, I had the other ones all inside my head, and I couldn't figure out how to get this one in there, so I'll just do this instead, shall I? Well, I might not know what the 3 of you... Well, I do. I mean, you're the hunter, you're the shaman, you're the other hunter, the protector, pardon me. Guess I'm the finder. Well, I guess we're safe enough for tonight with that word up, right, Shaman?
Yeah. I assume we'll keep watch anyway.
Right. Which is a tradition we haven't done in a while because we haven't camped out in the wilderness for a while. But I guess.
I believe the last time we did it was at Autumn Falls when Caradon got snatched.
Yeah.
Yes. So, we are going to be gathering some information. Who wants to go first?
I'm actually going to do my light ritual again because
Yes.
I've already spent 2/3 of what I got.
Yes, and there's no
Yeah,
limit
and-
on it, right? So
So
yeah.
before I go to bed, I'm going to center in and breathe in the fire and walk the labyrinth in my mind.
And you're still in your circle.
Oh, right. So it'd be one more, but that's still a weak hit.
Still,
Okay.
challenge dice 10 makes it, makes its ugly self known again.
And that's from the, let's see,
Killing it on these D10 rolls, though.
that's +2 momentum and +1 to the ritual.
Yeah.
+2 momentum and +1 to the ritual. Okay, let's bring in light. Where'd wits go? There it went.
3 this time. Ooh. That is max light.
That's a 13 you rolled there,
Yep.
which we can do because we changed the rule on that.
Oh yeah, so the glow is good and it bleeds into the ward and that's much better. All right, I'll take the darkest watch, which is what, the 3rd one?
Yeah. I think that
yes.
would be fair, yeah.
Yes, because it's always gone Gear, Caradon, Amala, Bill.
Okay. Do you want to do that again?
Previously. Doesn't have to, but
Ruh-roh.
I'll take the
What?
last watch. So yeah, which one of you wants to go first?
Guess I'll go first. Gather information.
Blow the dust off, gather information. We haven't used it
I
in a while.
know.
I tried using it in the chasm.
Yeah.
I got a miss.
I meant specifically.
Yeah, for this. Yeah.
You know,
Getting us
I'm
through the night.
actually gonna leverage the white mane on this one.
Yep,
Let's see here.
that's what these assets are for.
Whoa!
Beats a 10. Damn that 10. Forget that 10. That 10 doesn't exist.
Damn.
The only game I'm in
I'm totally
where
not
the
prepared for this.
maximum success level is followed by damn.
I was not
Only
prepared.
us.
I know what happens on a weak hit. I have no idea what happens on a strong hit. You discover something helpful and specific. Oh, take 2 momentum. Oh,
Yep.
wow, is this what a strong hit feels like?
Yes, and envision what you
Apparently.
learn or ask the Oracle.
I kind of want to see what the Oracle has to say.
Yeah.
I have an idea
You don't
of
have to use it.
how
Yep,
it
we have the-
manifests, but
We know we know how this works. You don't have to use it.
Oracle. Let's go. Is it a vent? What am I using here? Oh.
Oh, well, yeah, because the Ask the Oracle thing on moves
Oracles
is the
is-
likely
is,
50-50. But Oracles is...
Well, ask the Oracle. Isn't there an ask?
That's a move. That's fate move.
Oh.
But that's the likely, unlikely, almost certain thing.
Vent? Smother? Whoa, I don't think that's what I'm looking for.
No,
I smother Bill.
I don't like the way you. I don't like the way you look lately. You're outta
So,
here.
I'm just gonna make it up then.
Yep.
Screw the Oracle.
Yep.
And so Gear is going to sit there with his back to the fire, his back to his friends, watching the forest, and is going to reflect on what he's been telling people this entire time and what he was told by the spirit that he spoke with this morning. He's going to sit there. He's going to close his eyes. He's going to listen. And as he sits there and he listens, it's almost as if for a moment he can hear the swaying of the branches and the creaking of the trees, the crackling of the fire. And as his breaths kind of slow into this rhythm and he sits there attuning himself, it's almost as if his hearing shifts to that of an animal, some kind of creature far more attuned than he is. But he can hear the the vines swinging from the trees now in some place far away from here. He can hear the pads of the paws hitting the damp earth as this creature is moving. And as he kind of slows his breathing even further and begins to kind of phase out of this and just listen to what the world is telling him, he can't see, but he can hear a creature far away from here that is still moving. It's still in the forest. It's still safe. Or the jungle, I guess, would be a more apt description. And as
So
he
one of
opens
the
his eyes up,
spirits is yet untouched.
yeah, as he opens his eyes up to the surroundings, he's kind of taken aback by his ability to listen to something that is so far away. This is totally foreign to him, and so he spends a lot of time reflecting on that and going, oh shit, maybe this stuff is real.
None of us.
Yeah.
And it is going to inspire him to stand even stronger against whatever this thing is. Now who's getting smothered?
Preferably Caradwin's husband.
Yeah.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Just take us there.
Well, so maybe when you finally lie down to sleep,
I
the
can
wolf
imagine the
friend
meeting.
is on your face. It
The wolf friend
settles
just
down right on
smothers you with
friend's
love and
face, yeah.
attention.
I can imagine the meeting where Caradwin's husband and then Caradwin and Gear are standing there, and Gear just goes, "Just the one." Yeah. And am I waking up Caradwin or?
Yeah.
Yes.
So Gear will kind of move over to her and stop because he's not sure if she's just like awake and pretending.
No, she's
Yeah.
sleeping.
Reach down, just kind of put his hand on her arm and give it a little shake, shaky shake.
Stab. No.
Ah, shit! Ah! Why did you stab me? I was being gentle. I'm not used to that.
It's like,
It's like,
mirror
who are
now.
you and what have you done with Gear?
I thought you were somebody else.
So she'll kind of be like, yeah, she's kind of like the, oh,
Oh,
everything okay?
It's time to get up.
Okay. Anything I should know?
I don't know how I know. But the creature, the one we're going to go find, they're safe.
Good. That's good news then.
And so we go, we find this man. Good night.
Gear kind of plop, bang.
Eyes open.
Eyes wide open, staring
Eyes
at
open.
fire. Once again, a miss.
Robin,
The worst thing that can happen, followed by woohoo, woohoo, woohoo.
just so you know, for
I don't
future
know if we're
reference,
playing this game right.
for future reference, you might want to roll a little higher next time.
No,
Just
that wasn't
marginally.
a celebration. That was haha, another miss on the gather information roll.
As
Oh,
a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, it was on a miss. Your investigation unearths a dire threat.
yeah, so
Well,
give us a
intrusion
pay the
undermines
price.
Quest.
You know where that button is, right?
Yeah.
Hit that one a couple times tonight.
Ooh.
Surprise us.
Rising complicate. On Caradon's watch, she's mainly keeping watch and also kind of thinking over that in the augury, the vision that they saw of that, and kind of playing together, trying to put the pieces together of what they heard and what she knows. And she's thinking it through, and she's trying. There's pieces not clicking. It doesn't make sense. There's certain things that just don't fit with what they're supposed to, either what they were talking about with the location, how things seem to look in this misty vision, or whatever. And as she's mulling this over in her head, she comes to the realization, maybe not realization even, maybe it's more of a, she's finally allowing herself to think this way. She knows that he likes power, and that he's not necessarily that great a guy. You know, kind of a dick. And as she's thinking these things, she's not talking out loud, but she feels like her thoughts are very loud. Like it's one of those moments where you're like looking around to make sure no one else can hear what you're thinking, because it feels so big and so overwhelming and so cacophonous. But of course, everyone else is asleep. There's no sign that she is saying any of this stuff out loud. But then she hears his voice in her head. And it says, "Oh, you are way off the mark, aren't you?" And it startles her so much that she like grabs for her bow and kind of like gets in a stance, like spins around, and there's nothing there. But when she goes to sit back down where she was taking watch, there's just a little feather beside where her bow had been. That's the fletching that was his fletching, typically, because everyone's is different and unique to them. And that's what happens on her watch.
Yep. Fair. Yep. That's definitely a complication.
Well then.
Yeah, so that's fun. And she kind of like double checks, looks around the ward, and will, at the end of her watch, wake up Amala. Kind of gently
Hey.
wake her up.
Gotta have to work on your wards.
My turn? Okay.
Yeah, how does your ward work exactly?
Well, I rigged it as sort of a general one tonight. So it would either slow down a hostile force. Yeah, it would alert and it would slow down someone with hostile intent toward us. Why?
And she'll hold up the feather, and it's clearly not the red crest or anything like that. It's not anything. Somehow Vadden got in touch with me tonight.
How did he do that?
I don't know.
Does he use shadow or spirit or?
Not that I know of. Not unless he's done it recently.
Is he another one of those not quite humans like we know?
God,
I don't know. I'll keep watch.
be careful and wake me up if you get anything weird. I'm growing more and more concerned that he's more embedded in this than I'd like. Gear said his watch was fine. So, good luck.
We'll see.
And she will go lay down and not fall asleep right away. Because,
She's a
Understandable.
little freaked, yeah.
yeah. I
So,
get to mark that
third
on my
watch.
failure track.
Well, okay, so there's something mystical going on. So, Mala, when she takes her watch, she's going to sit and she's going to listen out in the world around her. And she's going to listen at the mystic level using her sighted. I want to take one moment. 1 minute. Okay, so she's going to use that to gather information.
Huzzah.
Add to momentum. Okay, so that on the gather information, she continues it because she feels the listening, remembering what Garrett taught her about listening. And so she just soaks in the environment around her and just lets it all soak in. Come on. Mouse move plus widths plus widths on the summary page. And she's going to use light.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, okay. So what is that?
Wow.
What does an invoke do with an opportunity? Assets.
What are you invoking?
So I'm consuming the mystical essence on a strong hit. Add the value of my action die to the essence track max 6, which I max out. Okay. So I can Amala is very much a part of it, and if anything else happens tonight, she'll she'll have early warning of it, and she's got resources of the area around to help deal with it above and beyond her word.
I would suggest
Well,
that you fill your track up to 6 too, instead of 5.
I did fill it up to 6, but I got to take another 2 off my.
You're light.
as you as
Because I was already at like 3 or 4, and this is additive. Unlike light
Oh.
replaces it, but this is additive. So this
as
Right.
2 light,
as
so I'm down to
Amala
4.
kind of does this and invokes it and kind of gets in touch with the area around her, she feels the lingering signature of blood and bone magic.
And because I used sighted, I would be able to identify that too. Yes.
It's like it's
Okay.
not nearby, like it's not nearby, but it's that like signature of like
That lingering aftertaste.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And so when the moon has moved a far enough distance over, Amala goes to wake up Bill.
Right.
There's something creepy moving around. It approached Caradwin during her watch. I felt the lingering traces of it during my watch, but I didn't see anything here. If you detect anything in the area, I have the taste of this place. So wake me because I can use it if anything tries to harm us.
If anything tries to harm us, Shaman, I'll wake everyone right with a big yell, I will.
Okay. Good luck.
Right, you get some rest.
I love how our group has started saying good luck as a good night. Like, good luck. Hopefully we'll see you in the morning.
Yeah, because every morning all of us wake up like,
Who's gone this time?
Well, here, yeah. So you go to rest. Bill steps outside of the warded area and starts to look around. And
Oh,
starts
you
to,
bone walker pricks!
and he sits down. He finds his little shadow, and he sits down and he starts to concentrate. But he's not looking in this world. He's looking around in the shadow world. So let's do. I'm still doing a gather information. Just doing it in another place. And that's going to be plus 2. Oh, shit.
Oh. Oh.
No, I'm going to burn the momentum. This story-wise, this makes more sense as a weak hit. Because it complicates your quest and adds a new danger. Okay. Well, let me burn that. And then I get one for this. So he's drops into that shadow world and starts looking around. And he goes in further than he probably should have. Certainly further than he expected to. And he's back in that place with all the mountains and all the darkness. And he forgets that he's supposed to be watching.
Mhm.
Well, I'm here. Why don't I just do a little tunneling? And he starts making. He said tunneling, but it's like he's building a lava tube. As he walks, there's just this tube of shadow that surrounds him. This copyrighted black substance, paint material sort of tube that you just can't see, and he's making it directly towards the mountain that he saw Callista, Tincture, the one behind, all of them standing on. And he just barely remembers in time. Oh, right. And he pops back into his little and steps back through the ward. Inside just in time to quickly look around and see that luckily nothing happened. But he had completely left you unprotected.
Are you sure nothing happened?
I got a weak hit and it complicated things, and I made things more complicated. I don't think I have to make it worse.
You don't have to.
everybody's dead.
We're all
But
not
I
breathing.
will.
That's all,
But I
folks.
will do this. If because you insisted. As the sun comes up and as Bill sort of bends down to wake the three of you, you sit up and look around, and on the horizon in the direction of Kinheim is a thick pillar of smoke.
Shit.
And that's where we'll hang tonight.
That's a cliffhanger for the night. Yeah. Oh.
I thought it earlier, and I thought, no, that's too ham-handed, and then I thought, no, it's not.
For us, no.
So yes, we will leave that there for tonight. Holy smokes. I think there's still some people. Hey, there are still some real people over there in the watching areas. But the first thing we do at the end of these nights every week is give everybody a chance to talk a little bit about what else they're doing. Robin, I know the wiki is taking up huge amounts of time and is getting so big, so very big. I keep getting notifications, like multiple notifications, emails saying, Robin has added shit to wiki. Robin has added shit to wiki. So, what's been going in there recently?
Recently, a lot of it has been keeping summaries of the episodes and those up to date weekly, as well as any quotes or anything from rewatching the episodes I'll add, or updating any kind of small minor information on NPCs. And NPCs is weird because we're all player characters, we're all playing non-player characters, but just for ease of thought, non-Ironborn characters, I guess.
Non-statted characters.
Yeah. And any of that information that comes up or has not been added yet. So yeah, that's a lot of what has been going on as far as that goes. And outside of the wiki, I just have I do art when I can.
Speaking
my
of
eyes
which,
are driving
saw
me
some
crazy.
new stuff. Yeah, I saw some new
Yes.
stuff. Just where can we find that? Was that on the Discord?
That was on the Discord. I'm gonna get that up on my Twitter in a little bit. But I did share that, just some sketches from last session, on our Discord.
Speaking of which, well, look at that. We're all just hitting bang, 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 Discord. But yeah. Speaking of that Discord, I just posted the link. That is a public Discord channel, so anybody who is watching who is not already a member, pop on over and join. Those of you on YouTube, if I remember, I'll put it in the links below so you can do it and pop on over and join. It's a public server, and we make this all up. So if you come up with a really good idea, I promise we will steal it if you put it in Discord.
Or at the very least, riff off of it.
Yes, we will at the very least play with your idea. Just ask Hallowed. We do it all the time.
Oh, I have been making some choice memes though about Ironsworn, so you can get that on the Discord.
The owls. Oh, the owls are great.
You also, you were the one who did the art for our feet mote. And
Yes.
feet motes.
Yes,
all of
we've
our
got
feet motes here on
our
our Discord.
feet mote on Twitch, and our Discord has many, many more of them.
Many feet motes. We've got all the motes covered with feet. That sounded strange. Anyway.
Yeah, that could be taken in a weird way.
I guess we'll skip on. Karis, this week, what many things are you doing? Because it seems to change by the week.
Oh yeah, it sure does. Let's see. This week, 2 days ago, I have a monthly group of very generous people who donate to Extra Life to
Nice.
benefit the Children's Miracle Network of hospitals.
Yeah.
And so they donate, and there's, if you go over to like my Twitch page or my YouTube, there's information on my Extra Life stuff there if you also want to have me DM for you. Let's see, and this week, today's Thursday. Tomorrow, this weekend, the Daddy Warbucks Dungeons & Dragons community has a big epic weekend going on. Tomorrow night, we're doing the Eberron Epic, the Iron Titan. Saturday, there are 2 sessions going on of the first epic from Adventurers League season 7, and Sunday there's going to be 2 sessions of the second epic of season 7. I've forgotten the names of them now, but
oh wow.
But plus there are 3 games where we are debuting some additional Adventure League games that were authored by our community, by a person in our community, and that will be available on DM's Guild as officially sanctioned Adventure League content.
I love it. Congratulations to them.
And so plus we've had raffles going. We have multiple games going that people were able to buy. All of the proceeds from this epic weekend. There are raffles for the Elderwood dice boxes, one of which has the Daddy Warbucks logo on it, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And materials in Roll20 and materials in D&D Beyond, and there's all sorts of stuff available. And all of the proceeds are going to the COVID-19 response for our summer epic here. And
that is spectacular.
I know I'm doing something else. I don't remember.
So for those that don't have the Twitch currently available, it's Karis Sophia everywhere. CHA.
Yes, I'm
RISSOPHIA. Karis Sophia.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's you
I
that you can
can't really
remember.
think beyond that because that's kind of
Well,
dominated.
there's probably some Minecraft in there somewhere.
Yeah, there's some Minecraft season 2 of Lifecraft. We've been playing with the new players and stuff, and yeah, that's lots of fun. I haven't gotten over to Vanilla High, the public player that I play on with
uh,
Robin and Austin. I haven't gotten over there this week, and yeah, I don't.
I don't
It's
know how you.
epics consume everything for, and
Yes.
we have like 14 tables at each. So there's 5 epic sessions, and each of those has got 10 to 15 tables, and
Wow.
they're
Each of those
I mean
tables
they're
is up to 8
chaotic.
players. Yeah.
Up to
Yeah,
7
Solar
players, right?
says very
Yeah,
busy chorus. Yeah, no kidding. Wow.
yeah. Oh, but
Eh.
this is I mean this
How did
these
you get
epics
12
are
days
so
in
much
your
fun.
week? I'm not sure how you do that.
I'm not
That's where all the
sleeping.
days of
I'm
my
not
week
eating.
went.
I'm not
Yeah.
doing anything else. Yeah.
Uh, Speaking of days of the week, this guy down here, 4 now? You gaming 4 nights a week now?
Big 4, and then the other days I'm working and going to school. So,
Yeah.
Working long hours.
oh yeah, Monday night I play in an all DM group, and we are just kicking the shit out of each other. We're at like 17 levels right now, so
Oh, that's nuts.
it's
Yeah.
pretty gnarly. You got to do a lot to make a 17th level party afraid of you. Tuesday, I run a dark and mysterious kind of gritty game for a couple of these folks, and I love it because I just get to kick the cheese out of them, and they go, "Please, sir, have some more." But it's fantastic. A lot of like-minded people exploring dark and gritty stuff.
Yeah. Awesome.
One of my favorite moments of last session was the players are given a compulsion based on one of the 7 deadly sins, and our very own Cara Sophia embraced her compulsion. Hers happens to be envy, and acted out this fantastic scene, and it's pretty interesting. It's in
You
my
just
notebook.
made her blush. Well done. Thank you so much.
It was
Oh, yeah.
it was interesting. It was perfect timing in kind of what was
It
happening in the
fit.
story, and
Yep.
It fit, yeah.
This does not surprise me at all. I envy you guys that game. I have timing does not work. I can't join you in that one, but
if
but speaking
anything
of
comes
that
up,
timing,
you're welcome to
yep.
jump in or cameo a session.
Oh, that might be fun. But right now on Monday nights, I'm doing over at the Mercs of Mischief. I am Guy Bontemps, either version 1 or Alt Guy, depending on which week it is, which
Good
is
Guy or bad
interesting.
Guy?
Playing, yeah, my bad Guy and my good Guy. Those are interesting. Those are great fun. And then I get Tuesdays off now, but I make up for that by getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday to play a game with some marvelous, wonderfully talented Australian folks over on Roll 4 Damage. That's for the digit, Roll ROLE 4 Damage. And it's a Starfinder game, so I get to play a sci-fi character, which is a lot of fun, very different than what I'm used to doing. And then that evening, I run a game for a couple of these folks and 3 of our other friends. And then on Thursdays, we do this. And then tomorrow, which is a Friday, most Fridays, we do the Fun Shot Fridays here as well. Tomorrow night is a new game. We haven't done it yet. I think we got 3 players for it. It's called Adventure Skeletons. And you are a group of skeletons who is sick of being stuck doing menial labor at the wizard's castle, and so they put on stuff that they've taken from corpses and go into their version of a dungeon, which humans insist on calling a village. And great adventures ensue. And the only other thing I'll add to that is that these skeletons are structurally not very sound. They're going to spend a lot of time falling to pieces. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So that's my week in a nutshell. And with that, I think we're down to the thank yous because somebody's got to go study because they do full-time university, full-time job, and full-time DM. So we got to get him on his way. So 5 thank yous. Thank you, Robin, always a pleasure. Thank you, Karis, always a joy. Thank you, Austin, always a dark cloud of absolute amazement. Thank you to our Twitch viewers who sit here and watch us do this and apparently enjoy it. And thank you to all the people who show up on YouTube and watch this at later times. I appreciate all of it, and I appreciate everything that all of you do. This is so much fun. And with that, please be nice to each other. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.